This is BA Graphics CGI, learning Blender from the experts. So welcome to the Getting Ready series. This is setting up Blender for the first time. I'm going to run you through how to get Blender and set it up to start learning in the best way possible. So I'm going to jump straight over to Google, and all I've done is type in Blender on the Google searches, and it's the top result. That's www.blender.org. Link will be in the description. So there's a big download button here, so go ahead and click that. Now if you're on Windows, Mac or Linux, it will automatically be on the right setting, but make sure you are just in case. And then you've got 64-bit or 32-bit, and you can just click either one of these and you can install it and go ahead. So once you've done that, I'm sure you know how to install a program, and all of a sudden you'll be left with this. So with this, there's quite a few changes we're going to do, just kind of get it ready, so we can start it up every time with a nice new slate, and it's going to be nice and streamlined, ready for us to work and learn. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead, and in every kind of box that we've got going, we've got a top right and a bottom left kind of weird triangles, lines in the triangles. Now if you hold your cursor over it, I don't know if you can see that in the corner, but your cursor turns into a cross. Click and drag that straight down and you'll get rid of this timeline. So we're not going to be animating quite yet, so we don't need that. Next up, we're going to change this drop down menu into Cycles Render. It is on Blender Render, but it wants Cycles Render. And then I'm going to right click the lamp, delete, enter. Right click the lamp, delete key, enter. So that's cleared up all of this as well. Also, for all the people that kind of move this little cursor to somewhere else by left clicking, if you hold down Shift S, and you can do cursor to center. So now you know how to kind of get that back to being all neat. Now the next couple of bits of settings and stuff, we're actually going to go through the user preferences. So that's File, User Preferences. Now I'm going to go ahead and just start from the left and work my way through to the right. There's nothing you need to an interface. Except the zoom to mouse position. Some people like that, I particularly don't, but some people do. Editing, you want to hit your undo steps all the way up to 64, so you've got a maximum amount of steps you can undo. Input, now some people need to emulate 3-button mouse, can't remember exactly what that does, but it allows you to, that's it allows you to alt left click to pretend it's a middle click, like the scrolly wheel click, but a scroll wheel click is definitely needed, so if you don't have that, you can emulate it. A lot of people on previous programs, or a lot of people looking to expand to 3ds Max, Maya, all that kind of stuff, the select button is always left clicking in other programs, and it's kind of weird that Blender have turned it into a right click. I've learnt completely and utterly in Blender, which means I'll keep the right click, but a lot of people want to go left. Last thing, if you don't have a number pad keyboard, I recommend getting one. It definitely helps out the layout of the number keys. But if you don't, you can use the emulate numpad, and it actually turns your 1 to 0 keys, or at the top of your keyboard, into your number pad instead. So definitely tick that if you haven't got a number pad. Add-ons. Now we actually are going to go ahead and we're going to download this auto tile size, because if I type in tile here, that's what I see, but you won't. Now we do that from actually downloading it from the web. So we'll get the tab open here. I'll put a link to this page in the description, but not a link to this, on the basis that this could change, and this website keeps it up to date. So go ahead, come to the current version download here, and you right click and do save link as. You save it into your downloads. I've already got it, so I don't need to. Come over into Blender and you do install from file, then from the file, see downloads, wherever you've got it. I'm not going to go through all that. And then once you've got it, you'll see this when you search for tile. It might already be checked, it might not, so make sure you do have it checked. I'm going to go across to themes now. I tend to have this on Elsium. I prefer it. I think that's how you say it. But hey, it's a cool looking colour. It doesn't really do anything. It's just colours. So file. The fonts one is the only one I'd say is a must. Go ahead and hit that. Windows computers. Go to your C drive, Windows, and then fonts, and hit accept. This allows you to, when you go to select fonts, it's always, you know, streamline already in the fonts folder rather than having to go navigate this every single time like I used to do before I learned about this. If you've got a folder specifically meant for textures, just highlight it up here. All the rest doesn't matter too much except the image editor, which some people like to put in like Photoshop and stuff like that. So whenever you do a kind of a render, you can set the display to be image editor and it'll pop it straight into Photoshop for you. And then last of all, system. This is probably the most important one. If you come down on the left hand side, you've got compute device. Now if you have an NVIDIA graphics card with CUDA enabled, you can click here and you can select your graphics card. Now I'm running quite a high-end Titan. If you don't, you can use your CPU. Just to confirm, there is no real restriction on using your CPU. If anything, it's actually less restrictive than using a graphics card. The only bonus of a graphics card is the extreme amount of upgrading how quick it renders. And rendering will probably be your longest time waiting, time consuming part of anything, especially in animations. So that really improves the time it takes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then you hit save user settings and close it all down. So now over here you've got image editor. I tend, because I don't really use Photoshop, I've got it but I don't use it, so I'll just go new window, supported, and GPU compute. So that's the render done. Dimensions, I leave it at 50% for just testing purposes, and then when I go to do my final render I'll chuck it up to 100. If you do want to do 4K resolutions and stuff like that, you can straight away go in and, you know, chuck in 200%, 400%, you know, as high as you want to go. For the people that have laptops and are just going on a bit of a, you know, a budget build, you know, chuck this down to 25%. It's fine to do some test renders at low quality and ramp it up at the end. Nothing has to be done for stamp. Output, I recommend keeping it default on PNG with RGBA color. It's kind of the, you know, it's a small file size compared to others. It's also got alpha transparency. It's one of the only file types that got alpha transparency, and it's just an all-rounder, so you don't need to keep changing it per project. You don't need to do this sampling. Because of my graphics card, I'm going to set this quite high, but you really don't need to. I used to have it on my old laptop on preview at 5 and my render was at 50. That was pretty normal for me, and that was a final render as well. It was terrible. These days my final render is something like 750, because I kind of test with the final render as well. I'm just going to set it to 150 for now, and a 30 for the preview. Like I say, this is you'll see what I mean later on. This is completely dependent on how quick your system is, and on a quick system this is what my testing is like. My test renders and stuff. I'm probably confusing you here, but just trust me in putting something below here. Volume sampling, don't need to do anything there. Light paths, limited global illumination. Even if it says it, I'd go ahead and re-click it because a lot of this actually changes still. Don't need to worry about motion blur yet. Film, keep an eye on this. A lot of people might want transparent background for some reason. It's quite a common thing to do. Make sure you've got this unticked by default is what I tend to do. It's quite nice to have a background automatically put in, but remember that is there. So performance, this is where we installed that kind of add-on for. Because I've got GPU compute, my auto tile size, by clicking here, activates it. This basically, or shows the options, sorry. Yeah, this basically is linked to the GPU compute, and if I go to CPU, it actually changes it. So it's saved on a, you know, a per profile basis. Now, if you've got a crap CUDA enabled graphics card, let's be honest, if it is crap, set it to 128. If it's a mediocre one, 256, and if it's high end, I'd go for 512. So I leave mine on 512. If we're on a CPU, I recommend for laptops and stuff like that, 16. If you've got high-end gaming laptops or, you know, kind of low-end or mid-range, sorry, computers, 32. If you're on the Core i7s at high gigahertz frequencies like 4+, 64. But for CPUs, I wouldn't really get out of this bracket. I actually leave mine on 16. So GPU, and yeah, just come along and hit all three on the right-hand side of these checkboxes on the bottom left here. Just don't turn this on. It's that's for kind of like your overnight renders, and it does render slower, but it allows you to stop at any time without missing any of the image, because it does the whole image rather than this tile size. It will do the entire image at once, but you don't want that quite yet. So turn the performance down. Nothing there, nothing there. So I reckon you're about done now. So yeah, if you just come along and hit File, Save Startup File, and then here's the important bit. You click it and then click again because there's an OK message. Double check that you want to do that. A lot of people come along, hit Save Startup File, and then go, oh, I clicked it and go, without ever seeing that message pop up. But it is there, so make sure you don't miss it. Thanks for watching. I know it's been a bit of a boring one, but it's now making sure that you're completely ready to learn with a nice clean slate and in all the right settings. Glad you watched this. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.